All right, so what I'm going to be showing you guys today is a 10 ball ghost rating drill that I do pretty regularly. I at least do it about once a week, maybe once a month, and just try to keep tabs on where I'm at in my pool game. See if I'm improving, am I declining? And the way it works is you're basically playing 10 games of 10 ball. You break, you take ball in hand after the break, and however many balls you make that rack, that's how many points you get. And if you're curious to see what the ratings are based on the score, just look at the description below. I got this from the Dr. Dave website. I also have it added on my app, so if you want to keep track of your progress, you can do that pretty easily. And let's get into the video. So I start off, it looks like most of the balls are out in the open, and the only real thing we have to be careful about is where we get on the 3. And I kind of already ended up on the wrong side of the 2, but luckily I had enough angle to go to the rail and come back out and draw out of it. And here, just hit a little bit of top, go down to the rail and come back out. I probably should have put a little bit of left on it so I could get more space between the 4 and the cue ball, but I still ended up okay. There, just kind of draw it out with a little bit of bottom right. And this is the shot you really got to be careful of because you got to go around the 9 and the 10, and then you got to get out away from the 8 to get shape on the 6. And from here, should be a pretty easy out. I'll just come out and forget exactly what I play. Okay, so I put a little bit of bottom right on that and drew over for the 7. I got to use the bridge now. I should just be drawing pretty much straight out, probably a little bit of right and quite a bit of bottom. Yep. And then it looks like I leave a little bit of an angle on the 8, so I'm just going to probably go forward, come off the rail, and come back to the center of the table to shoot the 9. And shooting the 9, I have an option to spin it and go 2 rails or just hit with top. I think I'll probably just hit with top here. And that's what I do. I actually almost missed it. And if you're wondering about the size of the table and the pockets, the table is 9 foot and the pockets are 4¼ inch. It's pretty tight. And so we're just gonna go ahead and get into the next rack. And so I'll skip forward a little bit. So this is rack number 2. The break that I'm doing, I'm breaking about 1/3 of a diamond off center, and that's supposed to send the 1 ball down towards that corner pocket. Now, because I'm taking ball in hand after the break, it doesn't really matter that I get good position, but I think it's a good habit just to practice the break that you're going to use on regular games anyways. And here, you know, I almost had ideal position to start with. So I didn't really need to take ball in hand, but I might as well take it because that's what the drill calls for. And so because the 8 and 6, I just go to the rail and then back. So I go 2 rails and then back over for the 2. And here the 4 ball actually goes in the side pocket. If I try to draw it out for the corner, it's kind of awkward because if you underhit it, you get behind the 7, and then if you overhit it, you get to where you're going into the 7 and the 10 ball, and you've got to get down for the 5. So actually I think the side pocket's the best choice here. So I just hit with top, come off the rail, and get position for the side pocket. I was sure to leave a lot of angle here because I wanted to run the cue ball 3 rails to get shape on the 5. And so here, you're just going to hit it pretty firm and hit with a top with a little bit of left to help it run around the rails and get down for the 5. And then once you get past here, the rack is pretty open. The 6 ball leads to the 7, the 7 leads to the 8, the 5 leads to the 6. It's now you're just executing the rest of the rack and trying to get out. Here I kind of just want to leave I think I just want to leave a stop shot on the 7. Okay, so I didn't really have, looks like I didn't have the ability, so I'll probably just go to the rail with top and a little bit of right and come back over for the 8. And then with this shot, probably just, it's tempting to try to go below the side pocket here. I don't know if I do that, but I think it's better to just stay above the side pocket and then just go straight across and just take a slight cut on the 10 ball. Yeah, I kind of like that. You try to get too cute with it, and you if you end up putting too much right on it, you get too below the 10 ball and you end up with a really sharp cut. And if you don't put enough, you can have a chance of scratching. So I just like coming straight across right on that shot. So my first 2 racks, I run out both racks. So I've got a total of 20 points now, and we'll go ahead and get into the next rack. So this is rack number 3. Doing the same break. And you'll see the 1 kind of sits in front of that corner like it's supposed to. The 2 is there. The 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, they're all out in the open. So there's no problems this rack. All you have to do is don't make any big mistakes. Don't leave yourself any too hard of shots, and you should be able to get out. So here, I'll just, and again, I really didn't need to take ball in hand on this rack, but that's what the drill calls for, so I went ahead and did it anyways. Don't want to give an excuse for why I didn't get out of a rack because I didn't take ball in hand. And just what I did here, I just left a little bit of a inside angle on the 2 so I could just float the cue ball up for the 3. So here I'll probably just hit with a little bit of bottom, a little bit of left, knock the 2 ball into the corner, and float up for the 3 ball to the center of the table. And I think I probably didn't want to have, I probably wanted to stay more towards the center and not so much on the right side of the table. So now I kind of got to run the cue ball into the rail and then back over for the 4, which isn't a big deal. So we'll just use top, slight amount of outside spin to keep it above the 10 because we don't want to run into the 10 or get close to it. And then now we have the 4 ball. Here you can, I think what I look at running at 3 rails. I also look at drawing it back with bottom left spin. So if you run it 3 rails, you get to travel into the shot line, but I think it kind of complicates the shot. You end up going behind the 10, and it's kind of easy to mess that up. Versus drawing with bottom right, you're kind of on the right side of the 5 ball. You have a shot at the 5 ball the entire time. And so, yeah, I just end up drawing with bottom right here. Not bottom right, bottom left. Yeah, so I'm looking at the 3 rail right now. And I decide, nah, that's not really what I want to shoot. So I'm just going to draw it out with bottom left. And it ends up pretty good. What could have went wrong with that shot is I could have ended up over the top of the 10 ball. And even if there is like a diamond's distance between the 10 ball and the cue ball, it does make the shot a little bit more difficult. But I get out far enough that I'm not over the 10 ball, and I can just use a normal bridge. And so there we're just shooting for the 6 ball. And this is, I think I actually made a mistake here. I needed to leave more of an angle so that I could get over for the 6, or so that I could get over from the 6 to the 8. And I'm actually pretty straight here. I have this really awkward angle, and so I decide I'm just going to hit the 6 as hard as I'm comfortable with and try to get as far away from the rail as I can, because that 6 looked easy, but it was actually like a pretty, like the pocket's pretty small because of the angle that it was at. And so if you try to hit it too hard and you're just slightly inaccurate, you're probably going to miss. So I just accept that hey, I'm going to have to take a harder cut on this 8 ball, and I'm going to have to hit this 6 a little bit harder to try to make the 8 ball as easy as possible, but I don't want to put too much pressure into one shot. So I just accept that I'm going to have to cut the 8 down, and luckily I cut it nice. It goes in the pocket. And now I got a shot on the 9. I can't remember. I think I just draw straight back. It looks like I'm playing with bottom. And just draw back, and then cut the 10 into the corner. And so after I make that 10, I get I'm like, wow, this is probably the best start that I've had to this drill in a really long time, maybe ever. Starting with a perfect score for the first 3 racks. And so I get kind of excited. I'm like, I have a chance at beating my personal best, which was previously 73. We're going to get into rack number 4 here. So I've already shot 3 racks. I've got 30 points. I have a perfect score. And now I'm kind of like starting to feel a little bit of pressure. Like, oh, if I keep this up, I have a good chance of setting a new personal best. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I think we end up making, is that 2 balls on the break? Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make 3 balls on the break. So that's pretty good break. And what problems do we have on the table? We have the 6 and 8 are, the 8's blocking the path for the 6 to the pocket, but it's a pretty easy combo, so I'm not too worried about it. I think the problem here is the 5 ball, because you want to shoot the 5 into that corner if you look at where the 4 is. But it doesn't. But then you almost have to play the combo on the 8, which, the 6-8 isn't that bad because they're kind of close together, but anytime you're shooting a combo and the balls are kind of far apart, it gets a lot harder. So here I'm looking at what's the best way to get on the 3. The 3 doesn't go to this bottom right corner, and so I have to shoot it into the top and this bottom left corner. And so I'm just looking at what's the best way to get to there. And yeah, and then I also have to think about, once I get on the 3, where do I want to leave myself on the 4 so I can get a shot at the 5? Because I don't want to shoot it in that corner with the 8 ball. And so what I'm thinking about is trying to get either to shoot the 5 ball in the side pocket or come over by the 9 ball on the right side of it and shoot it into the opposite corner. I was looking at running the cue ball 2 rails to get shape on the 3. But I decided to just go across the 2 rails instead of going off the bottom rail and then the side rail. And here, I don't quite get straight in. I would have liked to probably shoot a slight draw shot or stop shot and shoot the 4 ball in the bottom right corner. But I leave myself a little bit too angled to hold the cue ball. So I just decide that I'm going to hit the 4 ball into the same corner that I'm shooting the 3. And here I decide, with the angle that I have, I want to run the cue ball between the 9 and 10 with a little bit of top left and go up for the 5 ball. And that's actually my first miss. And so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 balls on the table. So I made 4 balls that rack. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6 balls on the table. So I made 4 balls that rack. So now so out of 40 total points, I have 34. Yeah. And we'll get into the next rack. This is rack number 5. Again, the break that I'm doing, watch for the 4 and 2 to go. The 4 goes towards the side pocket, and the 2 tends to bank towards that top left corner pocket. And here, I'm not too happy with my break. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but the balls aren't really spread out very well. But the 5 does go to the corner, so that's kind of my saving grace this rack. So I do still have, a pretty good chance to get out without having to break a bunch of balls out and trying to open things up. And so what I need to figure out how to do is how to get on the 2 ball. So I like taking this I think what I decide on doing is I take a kind of an inside angle. So I do a backwards cut and just run the cue ball into the rail and then into the shot line of shooting the 2 ball into the this bottom left corner pocket. And the good thing about running in the shot line is that you have a wide margin for error with speed control. And so I probably slightly overhit that, but because I was running the shot line, it wasn't that big of a deal, and I was able to still get decent position on it. And then here, what I really need to think about is how I'm going to get shape to the 5. I need to make the 2. I need to leave myself somewhat straight on the 3, and what I want to do is I want to follow the 3 ball to get a little bit of this they get on the left side of the shot line of the 4. And that'll allow me to kind of just float the cue ball over with a stun shot to get shape on the 5 ball. And I actually end up under hitting it, unfortunately. So since I underhit it, now I have to go down to the bottom rail and then back up with topspin. I have to hit it pretty firm. And that's actually my second mistake. I end up missing the 4 ball, and then I follow it and scratch right in the corner pocket. Now, had I made the 4 ball, I wouldn't have scratched. It would have went down to the bottom rail, and it probably would have came out off the bottom rail and then the long rail, and I would have had a shot on the 5 in that bottom left corner pocket. But now I'm kind of feeling bad because I went from, okay, I'm shooting perfect for 3 games, and then I had 2 games where I hardly got any points. I think I got, 3 points that rack? So I had 34 and I got 37, yeah. So I got 3 points that rack. And so I'm thinking to myself, man, I really got to focus on my break. I got to make sure I get a nice spread on the balls. And then I really got to focus on every shot. You can't take this game for granted. And so here you see I probably took a little bit of speed off the break, focused more on my accuracy than hitting hard. And it kind of pays off. I get a pretty good spread. And really, the 8 and 10 look kind of intimidating because they're kind of close to each other, but they both go to any pocket, so it's not a big deal. There's really no problem balls on the table. I think there really aren't any problems on this table. You might be tempted to try to get down table for the 4 to shoot it into that corner pocket, but it's not necessary. You can just you can leave it in the middle of the table and just accept the cut on the 4 ball. And actually draw this 1 ball. I actually draw the cue ball when I shoot the 1 ball too much, and now I'm having to run into the 6. What I wanted to do was just kind of leave myself straight in on the 3 so I could draw up to the center of the table. But you see that I made that mistake, and now I have to accept a slightly longer cut, about 2 diamonds longer, on this 4 ball, and I had to run into the 6. It was a pretty controlled run into the 6 though, so it wasn't a big deal. But you see I have to shoot this pretty soft, and my goal was to get it out to the center of the table, and you see that I got there. But you don't want to hit a shot like that soft, like, because even like a slight problem with the table, or you run into a piece of chalk, and it's going to mess up your cue ball. And here, what's important is make sure you leave an angle on the 6 to get down to the 7. And so that's why I shot that stop shot. You see the cue ball just kind of drifted over slightly because I hit it a little bit hard. But that leaves me the angle to get down to the 7. And then I can't tell if I'm straight in or if I'm going to go to the rail and back out for the 8. I think what I need to do is leave an angle, though, on the 8 to get down to the 9. And so I decide to leave this angle where I'm going into the rail, and then I can spin it with top left to get over for the 9 to shoot the 10 ball after that. And so here, just hit with top left. You don't want to go all the way down to the bottom rail. You want to make sure you leave an angle. Yeah. So if you end up getting flat, you have it gives you a lot more work to do on that 10 ball, but leaving a nice angle like this, you can get back out for the 10 ball pretty easily. And so here, I think that was the right shot. I just needed to hit it a little bit harder, and it would have made the 10 ball a bit easier. And I can't remember if I make this ball or not. I know I miss a few 10 balls here and there. And yeah, that's one of the 10 balls that I miss. So unfortunate that I missed the 10, but I still got 9 out of 10 points. So a nice recovery from my previous 2 racks. And then we'll get into, let's see here, rack number 7. All right, so we're at rack number 7, doing the same break. And you see I put a little bit more juice on the cue ball that time. And while I made, let's see, there's 4, 5, 6, 7 balls on there. I made 3 balls on the break, but since I scratched, none of those balls count towards my score. So it's kind of unfortunate that so many balls went in when I scratched, but it's also fortunate because it makes the run a little bit easier. So you just see me getting the balls that I made. I put them all in one pocket so that I know that that they don't count. And yeah, so yeah, that's really unfortunate. 3 balls going in the break and I scratched, so none of them count. But so now I'm feeling like a little bit of extra pressure. Like I really have to get the most out of this rack. So I got to get all the points I possibly can. And here I'm thinking about, do I want to shoot the combo on the 1-9 or do I want to just shoot the 1 ball? It's kind of tempting to shoot the combo here because it kind of gets the 9 out of the way, and then whenever I'm shooting the 8 ball, I can just go straight to the 10, so I don't have to run the cue ball down table and then back down table for the 10. Where, if it's just the 8 and 10, I can just, go 1 rail and then back out for the 10. But I decide against it because it's kind of hard to control where the 1 ball's going as well as the cue ball. And so I just decide, all right, I'm going to just have to run the cue ball around a little bit. That's better than losing control of the 1 ball and then leaving myself a bank or a kick at the 1 ball just because I wanted to shoot a combo. And so here I don't leave myself exactly where I wanted to be. I think I wanted to go to this right long rail and then back out, and I actually way underhit it. But I still got a shot at the 3, and what I'm gonna have to do is like kind of stun over to this right long rail and then back over for the 7. And the 3 ball just about looks like it almost hung up, but I got over for the 7. And now from here, all the balls are kind of sitting really nice, so it should be a pretty easy out. I just hit with straight top, go to the rail and back out for the 8. And here, I can either play with just top, maybe a little bit of inside and come straight down for the 9, or I can spin it out with 2 rails. And it looks like I decided to just play it with top, and that's kind of dangerous running into the 10, but I guess I hit it with the speed that even if I hit the 10, it would get out of the way. But if you get on the wrong side of the 10, that's a really dangerous way to play it. So I think the right shot there probably would have been to play with a bit of inside or to spin it out and never bring the 10 ball into the equation. And then you don't have to worry about messing that up. And then here, this final 10 ball, probably would have been nice to get closer to it. And yeah, I end up missing that one too. So that's 2 in a row that I missed the 10 ball. So that's 2 points that I missed, and then I missed the 3 points this rack. So I only get 6 points this rack, even though I got all the way to the 10, because I scratched on the break. So I think I go from, what am I at, 46 right now? And so that should take me to 52, and it does. And I guess now we'll get into rack 8. All right, so I lost control on that last rack, so I'll probably take a little bit off the break this time. And this time I'm a lot more careful in being accurate and where I'm breaking from. And you see how nice that break is whenever that 1 sits in front of that corner pocket. The cue ball kind of sits in the middle of the table, so you have a pretty good chance of getting a shot. Cue ball traveled down a little bit further than I would normally like it to. And this time I got good enough position, I might as well just go ahead and try to run the balls out without ball in hand. And so I float up table. Just a little bit of, that shot is just a little bit of inside spin, and then, yeah, just a little bit of top. Float up table for the 2. And try to probably just go forward here, get shape on the 3. Oh, I had a little bit more angle than I thought, so I went down, just played shape on the 3 in the side pocket. And I think here, I wanted to get, a little bit less angle than I have right now. And so I have too much angle, and so I can't stop the cue ball in time to get to the 4. And so I decide I'll just go down to the bottom rail and back out for the 4 ball. And you see I actually almost underhit it. I probably should have hit it a little bit harder, but I still have a makeable 4 ball. And as long as I make the 4, the position to the 5 is pretty automatic. And so this, I think you probably just hit it with top, and it looks like I used the slide amount of right. And then you shoot the 5. You don't have to do much work to get to the 6. I think what you have to be cautious of here on this 3-ball pattern is the 8 to the 9. So you don't want to leave yourself flat. And if I just shoot a stop shot right here, I'm going to end up flat on the 8 ball. So I'm going to end up pretty much straight in. And so what I like to do here is draw the cue ball back a diamond or 2 and leave a nice wide angle on the 8 so that I can easily move the cue ball down for the 9. And here, I don't know, you have 2 options. You can spin it with top inside and go 2 rails for the 9, or you can just use top right and come straight out to the center of the table. And yeah, I think I like center of the table because it leaves you a bit more angle to get around for the 10 ball. If you come around top left, you have a chance of like getting just like this very slight angle or almost straight in, and then shooting the 10 ball gets a little awkward. And then there, just a little bit of top outside spin, come 2 rails and get shape on the 10. Luckily I get straight in and I end up making the 10 this time. So I get the full 10 points this rack. And so we were at 52, so now we're at 62 points after 8 racks, and we'll get into rack number 9. All right, we'll see how I do on my break this time. You see that 7 went straight into the side pocket. And again, you know, with that break, we got, even though we didn't hit perfect, we didn't get the cue ball to stop in time, we still got shape on the 1 because the 1's kind of traveling down with the cue ball in the same direction. And I don't see any big problems this rack. Yeah, everything's pretty much in the open. I think I think the 8 ball makes the corner pocket kind of small for the 3. And you see I make a big mistake right here. So I wanted to get more bottom and more right on that, and so that I could come more into the line of the 2 ball. And I don't get quite enough, and so what that does is it kind of brings it more straight back across, and I end up getting over the top of the 2 ball. And so now I'm kind of having to bridge over the 3, shoot the 2, and I'm just, you know, really what I'm focusing on is just trying to make the 2 ball. And here now I have another really hard shot on the 3. This, you know, like I said, these pockets are pretty tight, and this is a far cut, and the 4 ball makes that pocket even smaller. It doesn't make it bigger. And so I have to be really accurate on this this long cut. And actually my tripod, that's what I'm looking at. the tripod leg is almost in the way of the shot. But luckily it was like maybe, you know, 1 inch away from hitting the tripod leg, so I can luckily get a full stroke in on this shot. And just barely, you know, I hit that 4 ball, but now my cue ball ends up behind the 8, and now I got to figure out a way to make this 4 ball, and I can't see it. And this is actually probably the best shot that I make the entire spot. So what I'm looking to do is kick it. You see me kind of indicate what I'm calling there. I'm going to kick off the rail. I'm going to hit the 4 ball, and I'm going to try to bank it back towards the corner pocket that I'm shooting from. And it works. Yeah. That's what I called. Unfortunately, the cue ball went really far, And now I got another long cut. It's a bit easier than the 3 ball that I made. Definitely easier than the 4 ball. And so on these shots, you know, the 8 ball is just kind of there. So as long as I make it, I'm going to get shape. So all I have to focus on is pocketing the ball. But I hit it pretty bad. I think you see me jerk my cue a little bit to the right and end up missing. But I still got 6 points. Not terrible for the poor position play that I had that rack. And I can't see how many points I'm at right now. But that's rack 9. And now we'll get into rack 10. All right, so I'm at 68 points, and this is the final rack. And we see that 6 ball go again. You see the 9 ball heading down there towards that corner pocket. The 8 ball's heading towards that pocket. So I end up making, what is that? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 balls. So I make 3 balls on the break. Is that right? 8 balls on the table. So I made 2 balls on the break. And everything's out in the open. I think what I'm looking at here is does the 4 ball go past the 5 and 8? And it does. And so all I got to do is get on the 2. Did it? Maybe it didn't go past the 5 and 8. Maybe the 5 and 8 made the pocket really small, so I didn't want to shoot it over there. Aha, that's what it was. Okay, so that's why I shot it like that. So I felt like the 5 and 8 were making that pocket really small. And the 9 ball is just kind of sitting there. So I said, all right, I'm just going to play the combo on the 9, which is basically a guarantee. You know, it's really hard to miss that. And then I can just shoot the 4 ball after that. You'll notice the way I played it, I shot it so that the cue ball had position on the 5. I didn't think that the 4 was going to go in, but in the case that it did go in, I wanted to make sure that I had shape on the 5 to make it. And you see me leave quite a bit of angle. I do that so I can come down for the 7 without a whole bunch of work. Again, you'll see this top outside spin just help me come back out to the center of the table. Just slightly underhit it. Probably would have been nice to be about a diamond closer, but still a pretty easy shot. And here I'll probably come 2 rails and leave a nice angle on the 8 to come 3 rails around for the 10 ball. Just taking my time. I didn't feel like I didn't really see the shot that well, so I just stood back up to make sure I was on the right line and make sure I was comfortable shooting the shot. And here I leave quite a bit of angle, and here what I'll shoot is a little bit of left and a little bit of top, hit it pretty hard, and let it come around 3 rails for shape on the 10. All right, and this is the final ball. It would be nice to end this with a 10 ball, with a full 10 ball rack, full 10 points on the last rack, and I ended up getting it. And so that was it. That was the best I've ever shot in this drill. You see in the middle, I think racks 4 and 5 made a few mistakes. Yeah, 78 points after 10 racks. That's pretty good. I think so. They say 70 is like pro rating. I don't think I agree with that. I don't think I'm there. Maybe like a really low level pro. I think if you gave someone like Shane this, if you had someone like Shane or something shooting this, they'd probably score in the mid to high 80s. But anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. I just wanted to share that, and have a good one.